actually reached out to him. I actually reached out to Larry initially because I knew he was affiliated with the New York Fire Department and other fire departments out in Rockaway, places like that. So I called him and I said, look, I don't know where I'd even go to find this out. So I figure I'll ask you because you may have an idea. I said, Larry, I said, is there anyone you know or you can reach out to, you know, fire departments that would allow me to film in front of a fire truck? And he said, let me ask around. He spoke to a few people in New York. He said, there's no way you can shoot this in New York. He said, the amount of paperwork you'd have to get through. He goes, it's only like, you know, big productions that would, you know, have that kind of money and power to push this kind of thing through. He said, I have a friend. I'm going to give him a call. He works out in Ballston Spa Fire Department. So he calls this guy up, gets back to me, says, Simon, we can do it. I said, oh, fantastic. He said, but it's going to be 3 weeks from now. And I was like, oh, okay. But the thing was, it was like the middle of winter. And of course it's meant to be in the summer, right? So set in the summer. And I thought, well, what the fuck? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do here? It's like say no. Can we do it later in the summer? And Larry's been in the process of moving to France for quite some time with his wife. His wife's French, so he's been in the process of moving to France to retire. So he says, well, I don't know how long I'm even going to be here. He said, so I can get you this. Do you want to do it? I said, let's do it. I talked to David. David says, I'm in. Whatever you want, I'm in. Let's just do this. I don't know. As we're talking, obviously he's an ex-fireman, and I said to him, I said, look, Larry, I said, since we're talking, you know, it makes complete sense for me to ask you if you would be interested in just doing this little role. And he said, oh, I've been in a few things, and we have a mutual friend, Brian, I haven't seen in a while, and he was in one of Brian's movies. And I said, oh, so you be? He goes, yeah, I'll be, I'm good. And I'm like, okay, give him the lines. We drive up to Ballston Spa from New York. We leave Manhattan, you know, nothing, a little damp, you know, maybe a little damp on the roads. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe we'll get away with this. We head up, we're getting closer and closer and closer to Ballston Spa. The closer we get, starts snowing. I'm like, oh shit, like heavy. And I'm like, oh my God. So we get up there, we go to this little diner somewhere, we have some lunch, and then we head out to shoot. We go to the fire station. There's not like a ton of snow around, but they pull the fire truck out. Where they pull the fire truck out, someone has obviously shoveled all the snow that was on the, you know, all over the place into one big pile in the background. So you have this like huge ass pile of snow that I could, look, if I paid someone to remove it digitally, it could probably happen, but come on. I'm like, fuck, you know.
I screwed you up.
It's okay.
Yeah. Can we start from here?
Yeah.
So we're at this point.
You know, everyone's like, what about the snow? And I'm like, what the fuck? What am I gonna do? Get a shovel and start moving it? That's like, because it was winter, the days were so short. We're like, oh shit. So, you know, as I'm shooting, luckily, the original scene was split in two. So some of it was set at later time and some of it was earlier. So once the lights started to fade, it was okay, but then by the time we got to 4 o'clock, it really started to cut in. And in all honesty, I hadn't brought a ton of lights. And eventually the sun's going down and it was so dark. And I'm like, look, I'm pulling in the lights as close as I possibly can. And I had like a light in which I could fake a police you know, the police lights, as though they're off in the distance. And I pulled that close, so you have a little bit of this going on on their faces. And it turned out okay. But yeah, there's a big ass pile of snow in the shot. And it was so cold. I mean, I couldn't feel my fingers. I remember I couldn't feel my fingers or toes. And to work, I don't wear that much, so it's just like I had a jumper on or something like that. The fog machine, because I wanted like smoke to kind of drift through as though like the fire had been put out and it was just drifting through. The fucking fog machine wouldn't even work. It was so cold that the oil that you put inside the fog machine, like the fog liquid, wasn't having it. I was like, shit. So you know, it was like David and Larry just kicked it around in front of this fire engine, which was like, I don't know how many hours I mean, it was a long journey up there. It was a heck of a journey. I think 3 3/4 hours, maybe more. Honestly, the journey there was long, but we laughed our asses off all the way there and back, you know, talking about everything from politics to art, music. Oh my God. It's so nice to have like cultured friends, because sometimes you think, well, how am I going to kill that time? That's a long journey. And we were there before we knew it, just because we had a real good banter. This friend was really nice. You know, he gave us a tour of the fire station and the history. And, you know, Larry borrowed one of the jackets. He knew where to put all, you know, because he's fighting fires his whole life. He goes, if you're wearing the mask, you'll have like smoke around your face here. And he put on his own makeup and, you know, sprayed him with the glycerin. And I remember things just didn't come through. I mean, I wanted David to be really suited out the way that you see the police department in West Virginia. I managed to get a pin, and I got the hat, and I got the shirt, and I got like a tie. You know, you want to try and make it as legit as possible, you know? And I got like a, you know, West Virginia pin. But all the patches that he needed to put on his arms, you know, to show his rank and everything like that, I ordered them in the mail, and they didn't come till the day after the shoot. And the guy I got them from promised he would get them there to me before that day, and he didn't. I was like, fucking mail service. I just love Larry. He's always been a huge part of my support system. You know, he was down at 9/11. I was cooking down there. I was cooking for first responders and helped the guy close his restaurant, which was just so sad. And I got sick afterwards, and he helped me a lot. He helped me understand that I didn't feel like I was entitled to apply for help from the World Trade Center Health Program, and he pushed me along with my friend Vinny. They pushed me to go and get help. So he's, you know, been such an integral part of my life, and just a good friend. I don't, you know, again, you know, New York's a weird city. It's not like you see people all the time, but when you do, it's good, you know, go out for coffee, catch up, stuff like that. You know. Yeah, I love Larry.
Spring